Hello, everybody,
I'm Heather.
and I'm Herbert, and welcome to the Random Fandom
Random
Zone.
Fandom Zone.
All right, well, we're going to get that fixed at some point because I know we're still working on trying to get everything coordinated. I think we used three different computers and phones and various other things to try out um,
Yeah,
for this cast and everything.
whatever.
So,
It'll work eventually. Someday. Not today, but someday.
well, hope you had a good day today.
Yes, they are actually, and this is a little different. We have a little reno project going on here. It's very small, but like things are kind of out of place, and we've stockpiled stuff into this room that I usually film in. And anyway, it's a
Oh,
little bit crazy.
that's cool. Yeah, I've done no renovations ever to my house at all. So I don't. Once I got in there, I should have did everything I was wanting to do, and I guess I sort of did, which was nothing. So there you go. And so
This is just, it's small. It's a little in the bathroom, a little bit of like accessibility, make it easier. Cause yeah, just, it's not huge, but you know what? Actually, I like it. Yeah. I can't wait for you to see it. I think, so far, I think they're doing a good job.
yeah, the only thing I've done in my house is change the air conditioner and change the water heater. I don't know, once or twice. Maybe I had a sink fix. So
Those
pretty
aren't
small.
renos. Those are just like
Yeah,
maintenance.
yeah, small, very small things I've done to my house. Well, awesome. Well, we've been wanting to do this for a while, so let me pull up the uh, Wikipedia page real quick.
Yes. But tonight is Babylon 5 because I don't know, gosh, has it been years? Like, this is so sad. Have we been doing this for years and we haven't managed to do more of this? Anyway, at the time we did a Babylon 5, I was somewhere in the first season and we wanted to kind of retouch. We're going to look at episodes, season 5, episodes 21 and 22, and kind of. So before I was definitely having mixed reviews on Babylon 5. I was struggling in season 1.
Yeah, right here we're on season 5 here, and actually I miscounted. I started with objects in motion, and then objects at
Uh,
rest. I'm thinking, no, there's more, and then there was one more episode.
with
So I
you
don't know why.
might.
I don't know why there
Honestly,
was.
you know what? I should have done all three of them because when I watched Objects at Rest, like there, I was like, oh yeah, no, that part happened in the episode before. So there is a lot that,
Yeah,
um,
you need to get rid of Lita, the
yeah, yeah.
telepath with Jakar and so forth. So yeah, let's just dive in. And again, I think there is well for me and probably for you as well. There's one big major controversy. Let me throw the pictures of the season 5
Oh,
cast up. So there's
okay. But
the
first of all, we have the writer J. Michael, and I'm sorry, and this last name. Do you happen to know it off the top of your head?
I think it's
Straczynski.
yeah Straczynski yeah
It's
uh,
directed by John Copeland, but Straczynski, um, he wrote 92 of 110 episodes and was nicknamed the Great Maker, which automatically kind of starts you off on Babylon 5. Like, it's got a, for the most part, it definitely has one voice. It has a major writer who wrote 92 of 110 episodes.
and
And
look
it
at this.
really, through the whole thing, it's very evident that it is a single story told in a single, like, you can really tell there's a point of view. It's written by someone who knows where it's going. What were you going to say?
Oh, I didn't realize this. The cinematographer, 102 episodes, was John C. Flynn III. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, that's why it has that similar look. I didn't realize that there's the same cinematographer for the
No,
whole
I think
run.
that those are reasons that it feels much more unified than most shows, and a much clearer voice and a much clearer outline direction. And I'm talking about this as the show as a whole. Spoilers, I ended up liking Babylon 5. um, but actually, and I don't know, fans may know this, he throws the final switch in Sleeping in Light of Babylon 5 when they're shutting down the station. He
Oh,
does
really?
that
That
little
was him?
cameo part.
Oh, well,
Yes. And
that makes sense.
just so coincidentally, this past week, my mom and I are watching Murder She Wrote. And we started the episodes where JB Fletcher actually moves to New York and she's teaching at a university. And that was actually written by him too. He went and directed and wrote for Murder She Wrote for 2 seasons, and um, Murder She Wrote had slipped to like somewhere in the top 30 TV shows of the time. And when he did that and he brought Jessica to New York, it really revamped the show and brought it back up to the top 10. So for all you Murder She Wrote fans out there as well, there's a
And you know,
tie-in.
and you know what? He probably made way more money with Murder She Wrote than he did with Babylon 5.
Probably.
I mean, that's just the way. I just like, oh, who's the guy on Breaking Bad? That did the X Files. Um,
Bryan Cranston.
no, 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 not the actor, but the writer.
Oh, and I know his name. Oh gosh, I would have known his name. Oh,
It'd come to us. But basically, he's saying,
Vince
because
Gilligan. Vince
yeah,
Gilligan.
Vince Gilligan. He said
He
he
wrote a
loved,
lot of the really amazing episodes of X Files. If
but
you did a top 10 episodes of X Files, he would be more than one of those.
so Vince Gilligan was saying basically, goes like he was there at the end. He says, man, he loved it. He got paid great. They had budgets to do stuff, but just the ratings were just falling little by little. But yeah, so that's really cool. I guess the one thing for him on the Babylon 5 side is that he owns the rights to Babylon 5. Sadly, nothing major. I mean, I hear that they want to try to do reboot or reimagining of it or whatever.
There's a lot of material in Babylon 5, and even though he tells this great story and all these characters have these great arcs, and like I said, it's got this point of view and you get where you're going, there is a huge universe and there is a whole lot more that goes on after the show, like in books and comics and movies and all these kind of things. So it's big.
Yeah, actually, The Gathering, the film after this, is one of my favorite films. Although it just really sums up what we watched over 5 years.
This is my favorite films, but it's fine. I feel like, and sorry to get ahead of ourselves, I feel like Sleeping in Light really focuses on and closes out in a satisfying way the John and Delenn arc, and I feel like The Gathering does that for Lando.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we get a little bit of Lando in the last episode. See, I missed Lando in the previous two episodes, and
Yeah.
Londo, and then I'm going to talk about the three because I watched the three a little bit because the idea of Jakar having to leave the station um, because he is so he's basically like a religious icon at that point, and Lita,
Mhm.
nobody wanted her there because she's a telepath, and so they both had to leave for different reasons, and so they went together, and for him to
Which I
say,
will say, as much as I liked Babylon, it's tough. You definitely earn it. It doesn't have the budget. It's not as glossy, but it is a very satisfying story. But I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to just say it. Lita can't act her way out of a paper bag. They have some good acting. It's kind of a mixed bag on Babylon 5. Some of the actors, very strong, amazing. She is not one of those. Some of them
oh,
are not good at all.
that episode where she's like hitting her hand and everybody in the restaurant, Sheridan comes up, you're not the only one touched by our foreline. She didn't
It's a
need to
good
be a good
moment.
she didn't need to
She's
be
not a good actress.
she didn't need to be a great actor for that because
And she
Sheridan
wasn't.
and the writing, that was enough. And the one thing about her, especially towards the end of this, like her angst is there, her hatred, her how the telebats were treated.
See, I honestly
And,
think it would have been a much more satisfying arc for Talia.
and basically, I won't go into it a whole lot. Garibaldi is married to this rich lady from Mars, and they try to try to kill her. And so he's able to get the guy, drags that guy into Lita's cell. And of course, she's like 1,000 telepath at this point. She can just, and she's like, he's been trained. He's singing songs. Oh, he's doing math. Anyways, and then basically just she knocks him out and tells her everything. Says, basically there's an agreement between her and Garibaldi about, what he's going to do for the telepaths and whatever. So, anyways, that story ends. Then we get to the episode you want to talk about, the second to the last episode.
Again, I would have done it more because you're right. The end of Babylon 5 really is objects, emotions, objects at rest, sleeping in light. But all of those are kind of wrapping up
Yeah,
episodes.
we get
I have to say, honestly, Herb, can you think of another, especially sci-fi show, with a more satisfying ending? One where they really took their time, they really closed things out properly, they gave you the closure that you wanted.
well, there's two things
It's
that
really beautiful at the end, how everything kind of comes together, and I don't know.
there's two aspects. One, Garibaldi's replacement. He says, "I'll probably be here when they shut the lights off."
Hmm.
And a lot of times they have these predictions where it comes true. Like at the very beginning, Londo and Jakar says, "I in a dream, I kill you in a dream." And we whatever, I can't remember what it was, but basically we know how we're going to die or whatever. And he knew, and you see Jakar with missing out, with a bandage over his eye and whatnot like that. And the other time they had Londo looking up in the skies, and you see, or was it the shadows flying past, and that was prophetic, pretty early.
Well, there's a lot of little prophetic moments, which makes it very satisfying to watch.
So the
And I have
third,
to say, I thought when I first started seeing Lando and Jakar, like, oh, we're doing this trope of these two people that hate each other, but they really kind of like each other. And I was like, they're never going to get me to believe they really should be friends or they really like each other. Like, I was like, no, this is just so stupid. And even when Jakar gets on those drugs and attacks Lando's like, oh my gosh, that's over. There's just no. And no, by the end, I was like, I bought into that relationship. I
and,
they
and I
did it.
think,
They did it. They got me.
and not to bring things in the real world, but I think in a lot of aspects, um, when I'm told by people that are politicians or like that, there's a certain act they have in public, but when they're at a dinner party or they're talking one on one, they talk to each other in a different way, a different
I
manner.
don't know. I think they go from mortal enemies who really hate each other to like deeply bonded blood brothers.
Well, they
And
both
you
use
believe it. Like you buy into it. They don't skimp and, take
well the
cheap sucker punches.
well the arc for Jakar was he becomes this religious icon, and the person that keeps his people together on the right path. And he wasn't that way. At the beginning, he was more of a warrior. Um, Londo was a statesman, and he did what he had to do to save his people from being destroyed from the shadows, and later on, even continue with that. So, and sometimes the best decisions you make are decisions you don't want to make, or really hard decisions. So I like that last episode there because we kind of start tying up Garibaldi. Londo and Lita leave to very little fanfare, basically. Even Delin doesn't even get to say goodbye to Jakar, because she's coming back from Minbar. And then basically we're going to the next episode, and I'll let you start that one off.
And I'm sorry because I don't have good notes, so I may need some
Okay.
help.
Yeah, I can throw it on screen.
Generally speaking, um, to start with Sheridan and sorry, start us off. Where are we?
Well, so the next episode we got a couple things going on. Obviously, they're packing to get out of Babylon 5, and basically they're going to go
Sheridan and
on.
Delenn.
Yeah, sure. They're starting to get pack. They're packing up, and
And again, this is kind of talking about it as a show as a whole. Um, Again,
but here,
any other science fiction show where you have such so relationship focused, the Delenn Sheridan relationship is really important to the show. I mean, both kind of plot wise and things that happen, and they take the time to give them smaller moments. They take time to pack up. They take time with that couple to kind of show them acting as a normal couple. Not a
yeah,
lot of science fiction shows do that. At least for me, I really buy into and believe their relationship from like meeting
so
to kind of being interested in each other to really, falling in love, getting engaged, married, like the whole, and you see the difference in like, oh, we kind of get to know each other all the way through like, we're married now and we're packing up here. And they just do a beautiful, again, I don't know another science fiction show that does a relationship that beautifully. That one does the relationship beautifully, and it also actually is important and relevant to the show.
so basically, they say here Sheridan and Delenn prepare to leave Babylon 5 for the new life of Minbar, but there's a fly in the ointment,
Well,
even
and
after
then it
all their
shows
testing.
then it shows Sheridan and the doctor kind of like, and I thought they did a good job because they kind of show them like shaking hands and leaving. They don't really make them act because neither one of those are very good actors. They
Well,
just show
they,
this like
they
tableau.
yeah,
Movie.
they basically shake hands almost off screen. You just see them in the background,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
basically,
You just see them.
and also what's happening is passing of the torch. He makes a recommendation for another doctor, and instead of getting a specialist, he gets the generalist doctor. and I thought that was kind of interesting. And of course, then you're getting the warrior uh, Jakar's replacement comes in, and basically he leaves a message. He breaks in, says, "If you're here, I want you to do this." And I didn't have any more training than you have when I took over Babylon 5, so I need you to do this also. And then of course we have Veer, um, also in charge of, where Londo did that. And then of course he has the Sheridan's set was it Sheridan's first wife that becomes the captain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Which again, I was really disappointed because I think that should have been Ivanova. That was another arc that sort of disappointed me because she wasn't,
yeah,
she should have been there that last season and she should have been the new captain.
and I think that was that she
And they
wanted to
didn't
go out.
really, they had that, like, oh, she's Sheridan, which I do understand. She was Sheridan's first wife and he kind of picked her because whatever reasons, but it was stupid and they didn't go into it. Like they never used that dynamic. They never like play, they never developed that at all. It was just like, oh, here's this little sucker punch moment and we're done with that. It should
One
have
thing,
just been Ivanova.
and one thing, she is a good actor though. So she
She's
was a good,
fine.
she was a solid actor, but it should have been. And again, Ivanova wanted to go, I guess, do her own thing, or didn't want to sign up for the last. And you probably don't remember this because you didn't watch it in real time. The last season was on TNN, and so they're the ones that financed the season 5. And so maybe I could even think that maybe they even are paying less of a salary even potentially than they had off of the. Oh, what wasn't this? It wasn't. I can't remember what was it before. Was it the TBS? I don't know. I can't remember where originally where it came from. But anyway, so yeah, it should have been her the whole time there, but it
It should
wasn't.
have, yeah. That's what disappointed me is it should have been Ivanova.
So this gets to okay. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. The thing that's interesting also because this was like in 90, was it 92, 93? Let me pull it up real quick just to make sure I'm saying this right. Um, yeah, there he is. Okay. Um, okay. So okay. Well, God, no way. 98's when that came out. Get out of here. Okay. All right. That's fine. That's woo. Okay. It gives you perspective a little bit. All right. So Garibaldi is now becoming like a business tycoon, looking at the newspaper of the stock market, and I'm just thinking, we don't look at the stock market that way anymore. We don't look at
Oh, yeah,
the
no,
so we
no.
don't look at the newspaper. There was no newspapers, now. So in Babylon time, that would have been a long time that newspapers would not have been a part of that. So I thought that was uh, one of these mispredictions that they would have in the future of things. So and that the print media would actually survived into Babylon 5 times, but no. Then probably we've talked about this before. The worst part
I
decision
know where you're going.
of
The worst
Babylon
decision.
5 and is Lenore.
And it really upsets me because I love that character, and that actor is probably the best actor on the show. So to give him that arc and that ending, it just really, it's very sad.
All right, so I'm going to backtrack it. Okay, so basically, they're traveling.
No,
They're
no,
on.
no. Lemire comes and says, "Oh, I'm here to." Oh, no, no. Okay, sorry, sorry.
Okay, no. Okay,
Before
let's
we
go
get there,
back a little bit.
he comes
Let's
to
go
Lynn
back
and
a
says,
little bit.
"I'm here to help." Yeah,
Okay,
and she
Lanier.
says, "Cool, I'm here to help."
Yeah, Lanier is on his last training of the Rangers, right? The
But
Anashan.
just a little moment that meant a lot to me. So they're leaving Babylon 5, and everyone wants a speech. And this is a moment I love. Sheridan kind of gives that moment to Delin and lets her make the last, goodbye, farewell, Babylon 5 speech, which I don't know. I guess just, everyone, I don't know, these days, whatever, oh, no, they're like, they wrote a strong female character and they actually gave her important moments that mattered. Now, I will say, sorry, I know it's not the episode we're talking about, but in case we never get there, just so I've said my little rant, I actually hate the Delin pregnancy reveal scene because she's like unconscious. It's Sheridan and the doctor talking about her and her health and what's going to happen. And I'm sorry, like Delin would have been the first person to know she's pregnant. It wouldn't have been like that. Like it angers me that she should have been awake. She should have been conscious. She should have been the one who knows about it. She should be the one having these conversations, not two men while she's unconscious. No. But But anyway, my point was they gave her this beautiful moment when they're leaving Babylon 5, and Sheridan's like, let Delenn say all this, and then they go and they're on the ship heading back, and then
And I really don't get this first time. So Lanier comes over, takes some time off from a working vacation, as he says, and basically she's happy to see him because a great aide, someone that was part of her cast, right?
and someone she's known and
Mentor.
worked with for a lot of years. Like they have a really good rapport.
I mean, she's a mentor
Like
to.
her best friend on Babylon 5 for all these years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like friendships are different with different species and stuff, but whatever that equivalent is to human relationships, it's someone that's a joy to see, and he's doing this really extremely like SEAL based hard training that goes on, and then she leaves in a very awkward moment between him and Sheridan, where
Yes.
Sheridan basically says, "Well, come on over to Mindar. They always got a room for you, and you're part of the sorry, basically part of the family." I don't know if he actually says that words to that effect, but a really awkward scene, awkward for him and awkward for Sheridan, and I'm just thinking, does that lead to that in some aspects? That if you could have been more genuine about, he said the words, "You're always welcome," come. And I don't know, and he knew there was some weird whatever feelings or relationship or whatever going on. Let's go back to like season 3 when they think they're about to die on the ship, and he basically says, Leonard says, "I love you, Delenn," and it says, I didn't hear what you said or whatever,
Yeah.
and basically to save face for him and
Well, see, and
because
I think that whole thing, and why it leads to this ending, which is a huge disappointment. I think, and I know it was Bill Mammai, but I don't think he intended it to be taken this way. I don't think it was a good idea to have him in love with Delenn, at least not in a way that rivals Sheridan. I think if Lanier loved Delenn, it was as a saint, as a chosen prophet of her people, as someone who was supposed to like change the direction of the Minbari. Like I think it was more of like a reverence. And he could have not liked Sheridan in the sense of you're interfering with that. And Delenn wasn't meant to be your wife, and she wasn't meant to settle down on Minbar and have children with you. But I don't think it was like a romantic rivalry.
yeah, and also the way the actor played it, he didn't play it that way either. He was playing at that. And again, we always think things of human love, but different species could have a different feeling or different emotions or connections or whatever. So very awkward with Sheridan. All right, so but he's there helping to move, gets them on
Mm-hmm.
the going on the ship to Minbar. So he helped them to the pack,
Lets
and
them
then
pilot the ship home, which I thought was kind of sweet. I like that. Yeah, that feels right. They should be the ones in
so
command of the ship home. It
yeah,
was nice.
so he sets it up where the captain stays behind, so they are able to to fly the ship symbolically going home, and thinking, okay, all right. So Sheridan's now antsy in his room, going
Yeah, that's right.
walking back and forth, thinking, dude, just sit down, take a nap, have a
And give me on,
conversation.
this is like a battle hardened leader here. You know what I mean? Like you're just going to Minbar guy. What's your issue? Like he's been in like active combat. Like
Yeah, so he's antsy, so he goes for a walk, and then something happens with something explodes or whatever, and he
there's
goes
like
in
a
there.
leak, some
There's
kind
a
of gassy leak,
gassy leak
something.
goes on, and another ranger, I guess, gets trapped in there trying to say, "You need to get out of here," and he's trapped. Lanier just happens to be walking around and sees that, and he goes, "Lanier, open the
Well,
door."
when there's a leak and like it seals off.
Yes,
So Lanier walked up on the sealed off section, and Sheridan was behind it.
and he goes and pulls his hand back, and then walks away. Well, I don't say he runs away, but he walks away pretty quick. And then so Sheridan, obviously a man of action, gets the staff stick. And the first thing I would have done, because they like open from nothing, I would just like open it against the window, thinking there's enough force for it to break, but whatever.
He
And
bangs it with this thing, and it breaks through the
and,
sealed
and
door.
eventually is able to. And by that time, Lanier had a change of heart and runs back. And by that time, he'd already saved himself. People are pulling in there, and the last time that we see him on screen with Delenn, and
That's not the last
basically,
time we see him, but that's the last time they are together in
no,
person.
no, that's what I'm saying. Last time they see it together in
Yeah.
reality,
But
reality.
Sheridan doesn't say anything. Sheridan knows what happened, and he does tell Delin, but they don't tell anybody else.
Yeah. But still, he is mad, and rightfully so mad.
I know he's mad.
And then the thing to me that strikes me the worst. All right, so Lanier leaves. He steals the ship because he's got all this training or
He's so
whatever,
ashamed. Yeah.
and so ashamed. Then they go through his writings and his dorm room or whatever, and find out that there was abomination with their relationship or whatever, and read through all that stuff. And I knew he had feelings or whatever, but I didn't know it was like this. And
It just makes my stomach turn. It's such a cliche, crappy ending for such a great character and such a great actor.
but again, different culture. I don't know if someone did that.
Sure,
Let's
a
go.
different culture. You do realize they're writing it, and they could make it how they want.
I understand, but
It's not a true culture we're researching, and we have to kind of keep it true to how they like.
I understand. I'm just saying,
Do
some,
ya?
so, someone. I don't even. Did he even break a law? I mean, he broke like a moral law. Not,
But again, they kept it. Sheridan and Delin kept it quiet specifically so he could come back, like so we could all be cool. Like
yeah.
they,
So, but they're going through his stuff to find his writings, and then somehow she reads all his writings really quickly or whatever.
yeah, really quickly.
And surely, I mean, look, there's Lanier. I'm sure he wrote a lot of stuff. He didn't like. I don't like Sheridan.
No,
That was it.
yeah, Lanier would have documented like everything, every minute of the day. Like,
The reason whys, and probably possibly had a very logical way. So okay, does that mean Lanier is wacky? Does it mean that he is this? The only thing that's redeeming for me of this episode is that she says a lifetime of great service by one moment of weakness. Should we characterize his life that way?
and honestly, if you wanted Lanier to be a fall from grace character, that's a crappy fall from grace. That's not like I would have had him like really betray the Anla Shah, like be an actual traitor, like give up military seat. You know what I mean? Like go big or go home.
Yeah,
That's just a little interpersonal intrigue. You know what I mean? Like oh, I had a crush on a girl and she married someone else. Wah. That's not like go bigger. You know, to me, Lanier could have done something bigger than that to be like, oh my gosh, and Lanier's going to be the one that gets the Anla Shah slaughtered.
I mean, if he would have pushed him into the room that closed down, or shoved him into it, or some type of action. I mean, again, that's even worse. Not what he. And again, I can understand, and it has made me think about like people's lives that we always take the what you remember somebody is for the worst action that they did, and all the good or normal life they had is oftentimes lost. And so he is the
Yeah, but
one
that's not
that.
even bad enough to be that to me. That's like
Then let's jump forward a little bit. Basically, on the phone call, basically
yeah.
says,
Then Lanier is away and he calls Delin. Of course, they explain it. He says, "Oh my, on the Shaw training, I'm untraceable, so don't try to find me."
and then basically saying, "We will meet one more time." Well, we never see that.
Maybe it happens in the larger history of I don't know because there's a lot more Babylon 5 unless you
So,
really want to be like a major reader and get into all the but
yeah,
yeah,
suppose
right. He does say that they would meet one more time.
we'll meet at least one more time. And obviously, the Minbari is going to live a lot longer, and obviously Sheridan only got 20 years left, so he could just really in a lot of ways he could have just waited 20 years, which is not that long of a time in some aspects, but whatever. So that's a little bit of a weak part there. And so that never gets resolved on something. And again, that could have been something that you thought about a movie. I mean, to me, I would love to see, the redemption of Lanier or whatever. Um,
Yeah, I just hate that whole plot line of Lanier. I think he should have never. If you wanted to put a thing like that, I would have had it be more of like, Delin, you're a prophet of your people. You don't need to marry him. And I would have had it start more way up front when she married Sheridan. Because the Minbari didn't like it. Remember, she had to go back to Minbar. She had to talk to the Grey Council. They were all like, no, Delin. And she was like, yeah, I'm doing it anyway. Lanier could have expressed his voice at that time and said, like, hey, Delin, like, are you sure? And he's like, no, you're my friend. I'm going to stand by you through all this.
the actor, hated the ending. He
I
talked.
agree.
He actually has talked about that he would have done a different route and offered that, but the writer said nope, this is it. And if you do look back, it is set up even from the very beginning of him, her, and even the first captain, and him definitely with Sheridan going on. And so he had that arc for him, I guess, the whole time. He knew that was
Well,
going to
it's
happen.
there should have been something so much better for a character like Linear. I mean, it just
To run away like a
it was very sad.
coward.
I was sad. I don't even like.
I mean, this was a
No,
guy.
he should have. No, no.
This was a guy that was willing to take the
What if
rap.
Sheridan had been injured?
Yeah, yeah. But Sheridan was injured. I mean, but
What if Sheridan had been injured and Lanier needed to donate an organ or donate blood to save him and did? Like that to me, that's a better ending.
yeah, that could be a better ending. I mean, Lair was willing to go to jail to save his clans. You know, he's going to take the fall for that one guy because of.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm just. I don't know if we got a little traffic going on with the internet right now. I'm still there.
Hello?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I hear you. Do you hear me?
Hello?
Do you see me?
Not good. Hello?
Yes. Try your turn your video on and off.
Hello? Are we
Yeah, there's a little bit of a bandwidth issue going on right now. All right. Well, we're waiting for the bandwidth to catch up. I'll just throw up a little bit about these episodes. So, one is the first one I started off with objects in motion, and then object at rest, and finally sleeping in the light. And we still need to talk about that one. And we'll look at a couple of things on Babylon 5's Wikipedia page here. And basically, the test pilot's in '93, so it went to '98, which is pretty amazing. And sort of as a primetime entertainment network. I don't even remember that. And then eventually he moves over to, like I mentioned before, to TNN. So don't know quite the reason. I guess it just maybe that just went away. Warner Brothers and okay, so anyways, it was an interesting little aspect of that. Um, okay, there we go. And so, yeah, from '93 to '98, golly, that's a long time. Now, I originally didn't watch Babylon 5 when it first came out. Uh, it took the TNN reruns for me to be able to catch it.
are we back?
I think we're back. Sounds
I
good
can't
right
hear
now.
you.
Is it muted?
I can't hear you.
You're muted? Can you? There you go. Can you hear me?
Am I unmuted? Is it working?
Yeah, I
I
can
don't
hear
think
you.
it is.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
You can or not? I can hear you.
I cannot hear you.
How about how about
Hello?
now?
Hello? I can't hear you.
Now you can't hear me now?
I can't hear you.
Okay. All right. Well, uh, I can hear you. A second. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
How about now? All right. Well, I got you on the phone here.
You want me to use the phone? You want me to
Uh,
use the phone?
let's see. How about now? Can you hear me right now?
Only on the phone.
Yeah, that's fine. I got you muted here, so we can still finish this. All right. There's a little bit of delayed time going on.
Are you gonna cut out all this part?
No, no, it take me forever to do that. So, um,
It'd just be one cut.
I had to go edit an hour would of footage. It takes forever to do one cut. I might as well do 1,000 cuts of that area there. The whole point is to make life easier making a podcast. Um, but I guess one of the questions: do you have any other applications going on your on your computer? You don't have
No?
you only have Zoom up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it's a bandwidth issue or
Maybe we should do it another night.
all right. Just tell you what, hang up and let's just
I'm getting
yeah,
echoes.
h- hang up and go back and log into that. I'll just cancel this one and log into it again. All right.